So, Bandai Namco at Anime Expo last weekend they announced a brand new Bleach console game, and I think this is the first console game for the series in maybe a decade or something because it only got Soshage gacha games for a long while now. And I'm not really gonna talk about the game itself because I used to like Bleach, like I used to like it until a certain point in a certain arc. I guess depending on who you ask, the series has fallen into a cliff at various moments. And personally, I really didn't like the final arcs. If even before that, like I stopped reading before that. So yeah, with that said, I do like the series, but I'm not really gonna talk about the game itself. Just wanted to reminisce about some of the old days I've lived with this series, because I remember on Nintendo DS you had the Bleach games from Treasure. Like I don't remember their names, but it was developed by Treasure. There was two fighting games. They were pretty nice. It was very similar to Guardian Heroes because Treasure did that. And on Wii, you also had a pretty good game as well. I forgot its name. I think there was an RPG and there was a tactical RPG as well or something. Like it's been too long. I don't really remember the details. But anyway, so it is a brand new console game releasing on all platforms except for Switch. But maybe on Switch 2 or something, they're going to release it later on. And the most important thing to me isn't really the game itself, but the fact that it's being developed by Tamsoft. Tamsoft is a company who's making the Senran Kagura series. And globally, they're making quite a lot of ecchi action games. So they are also making the Ikkito-sen game adaptations. And they're making Onechan Bara as well. So this is pretty interesting because their games are actually pretty good most of the time. Especially if you look at their latest games, they made Utawarerimono Zan, the Utawarerimono action RPG. And this is actually really interesting and they're pretty good. So I think like if you actually care about Bleach in 2024, you can expect a pretty good game actually from Tamsoft because they actually make some good stuff. Yeah, they also made the newest Captain Tsubasa game adaptation, which is pretty good as well. If we take a look at the second page, what else do we have? So yeah, they did some of the Neptuna games as well, a Gintama game as well, and yeah, they did Senran Kagura, pretty much all the series. They did Natsuhiro High School. I think that was like a really legendary kusoge. Like you often see it on some Japanese speedrun events, Japanese なんか、LTA in Japan とかで、it often shows up Natsuhiro High School, I think it was called. Let me find it if it's in the list. It's a really, really funny game that you need to take photos of and stuff. It's a really, really crazy otaku game. It's very, very funny. And it often shows up at Japanese speedrun events because it's full of bugs. And this is like one of the most famous kusoge. But yeah, in the past they used to do the simple series, like some of the simple series. And most notably, Onechan Bara initially started as a simple series by D3 publisher. And then it became like its own series. And lately, I think it was in 2020 or something. Yeah, in 2029, they released Onechan Bara Origin, which is actually really good. It was basically a remake of Onechan Bara 1 and 2 together, remaking the story with a brand new character. And it was actually really good. So I'm hoping they make a 2 one day because they need to remake 3 and 4 as well with the new pair of sisters. Hopefully they will make another remake one day. Also, Onechan Bara Origin, the character designer was Enami Kasumi, who is known for Baccano, for some of the Trail series. He wasn't on all the Trail series, but he was on Zero no Kiseki, Trails from Zero. Trails from Zero, I think is the English name. And he came back recently for Kai no Kiseki and for Kuro no Kiseki. The English name is Trails Through Daybreak. He's a character designer again for this. So yeah, I really like his designs. And Onichan Origin was actually really fun. So yeah, if you look at the recent games Tamsoft did, they're all actually pretty good. So you can expect some good things for for the new Bleach console game. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about because I'm not really that interested in the game itself, but I think like if you look at the articles online and if you look at the discussion online, I don't think many people will mention that the developer is Tamsoft and they actually make some pretty good games nowadays. So yeah, that's pretty important to mention. So to stay on the topic of Anime Expo, last weekend, Manga Gamer announced they're making an official localization for Rose Guns Days, which is one of the visual novel series from Seventh Expansion, the developers of Higurashi, Umineko, etc. And this is very exciting because the game was actually already fan translated in English, like maybe, I think it's been 10 years or something by now. I think Witch Hunt was doing it, the same fans who translated the Umineko in English. And yeah, this was like their fan translation is maybe from like 10 years ago now, but the game did never received an official release, so it's going to happen now, and it's really good news because it's an excellent game. Like this, in my opinion, it's just as good as Higurashi and Umineko, but sadly, it's not as popular, especially outside Japan. Like I don't really see many people talking about it. But it's actually really, really good. And to be honest, I actually need to finish it myself because I remember playing. It's in 4 episodes in total, 4 games in total, and I remember playing 1 and 2, but I never played 3 and 4. So I need to finish it one day myself. The story is actually really, really interesting as well because it's basically following a group of prostitutes with their bodyguards, and they're trying to fend for themselves in a fictional post-World War II world where basically the war ended because there was a major earthquake that destroyed all of Japan. And then the Americans and the Chinese started basically colonizing Japan. And it's a really interesting, really original setting. And you could think that this is a nationalistic story about Japan needing to be strong and some nationalistic and some racist stuff against Chinese people, etc. But there's actually nothing like that in the game. And in many ways, like this is a very difficult subject because it's also talking about like the protagonists are all of the protagonists are sex workers and their bodyguards, and they're making their own mafia basically. So it's very, very difficult subjects, and there's many moments where you could think, oh, it is definitely going to be treating this particular team really bad, really in a really bad way. But the game actually never falls into that, and it managed to do some really incredible story moments and with some really incredible writing. So I'm really excited more people will be able to experience it. And yeah, so this is actually a really good game from Seventh Expansion, and I hope this will help make it more popular because going to release it on Steam, so I think like it's probably going to sell pretty well if they manage to advertise it properly, especially to the Umineko and Higurashi English fan base, which is always pretty big and pretty vocal. If they manage to introduce the game to them if they don't know about it yet, I'm pretty sure it can become pretty big. And interestingly, yeah, because obviously because the protagonists are sex workers, like in Japan, the purity otaku, especially how I call them, they don't really like this game, right? Because like they're obsessed with whether their favorite character had a boyfriend in the past or stuff like that, you know. So that's so interesting to note that, in my opinion, Rose Gun Days compared to Higurashi and Umineko is also, well, Higurashi and Umineko in Japan also has a lot of female fans, but for Rose Gun Days in particular, I think there are maybe even more, because especially one of the things in Japanese media in Japan with otaku media is Josei Muke series who are targeting a female audience, they tend to regularly receive stage play adaptations, and especially even if the series in the first place wasn't really targeting that audience, if it gets popular with that audience, then they get stage play adaptations. And this is what happened with Tennis no Oji-sama, Prince of Tennis, like maybe 15 years ago or something. And then you had the first Prince of Tennis stage plays, and they got really, really popular, and they're still continuing to this day. And basically every few years they switch generations and they switch the actors with brand new ones, and they keep going with the stage plays like for over 15 years now. And you also have series like Touken Ranbu, which got really popular with its stage plays as well. You also got Sengoku Basara, which was really popular with female fans, female gamers who got a lot of stage plays in the past as well. So usually when you see anime series or game series getting a stage play, it means it's quite popular with the female audience. And Rose Gun Days was actually the first 7th expansion game to get a stage play, as far as I know, or maybe Higurashi had one before, I'm not sure. But yeah, it had a stage play adaptation, and it was one of the few 7th expansion games to have one, which is technically not true anymore, because since last year they started an Umineko stage play adaptation as well, and they're currently on episode 4, I think. They're making new ones like every 3 or 4 months. It started like around 1 year ago now, the Umineko stage plays, and now they're at episode 4. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. You should check it out if you never heard about it. And we're still on Anime Expo news, and this year as well, Falcom president Kondo Toshihiro was at the venue, and I think he's been there like very regularly, maybe every year, if you don't count COVID break, because like in 2020, I think, and maybe in 2021, Anime Expo didn't happen, but I'm sure he was there in 2019, because that's when I interviewed him myself. It was back when I was working at DualShockers. I could interview him, and it was very interesting back then as well. So this year too, he was back thanks to NIS America, and so I assume several English outlets will publish interviews with him pretty soon. And Noisy Pixel revealed that during their interview, he said that Falcom plans to announce a new remake before the end of 2024. So yeah, Azario from Noisy Pixel, a really cool guy. Noisy Pixel is a pretty good seat overall. Azario, I know him like, I wouldn't say like personally, but we actually worked together for a little bit. And so yeah, he could interview Kondo, so I'm pretty happy for him. In his interview, Kondo mentioned that yeah, it's a bit tough as a creator not to want to go and maybe touch up these old games and remake them. It is definitely a desire as a creator to do that. Honestly, I can't talk about the details, but there is a title that we are working on that could be considered a remake. Expect to hear about this title before the end of this year. So yeah, I'm wondering what this could be. So since like maybe 3 or 4 years, Kondo-san has been regularly talking about an IS-5 remake, because IS-5, Ushinawareta to Kefin とか Last Kefin, Kingdom of Sand. This is one of I think this is the Soul East game that never got a remake yet. It was on Super Famicom, released only in Japan, and there's an English patch, fan translation if you wanna play it. I remember like in the past, I used to translate nearly every Falcom interview, because I really like the Kiseki Trail series and I really like the East series. And recently I haven't been doing it because I don't have a position in games major, so unless I'm paid, like it's super long interviews, I'm not gonna do that unless I'm paid. And also I also want to avoid spoilers regarding the Kiseki series, because I actually need to play it myself, because I know a lot. The one thing is, I know a lot about the Trails Kiseki series, but I actually never finished one of the games myself, because everything I know it from one of my favorite French streamers, like the sole French streamer I'm watching regularly. Is like the biggest fan of the Trail series in France, I think. and he has all the games and he has a collection and he's extremely knowledgeable of the series. So he often talks about it and he often streams the games and talks about them in Japanese when they release, he plays them in Japanese and plays them in Japanese. And thanks to him and thanks to the other friends, online friends, French online friends who are fan of the series, I know quite a lot about it. But yeah, that's why I used to translate all the interviews regarding it. But these days I'm not doing it to avoid spoilers. But I remember like 3 years ago or something, Kondo-san already mentioned that he would like to make an Ys 5 remake. So I assume this will be like what will get announced. And interestingly, he said it could be considered a remake. So I think it's gonna be like a Celsecha scenario where they change the story a bit compared to the original game, because I think I'm not sure if the original Ys 5 was actually developed by Falcom or not. I think it could have been Hudson or something, because some of the older Ys games, Falcom didn't directly develop them, and this was the case for Ys 4. And that's why they made Celceta Remake, because Ys 4 Celceta is actually the first time Falcom itself actually made Ys 4, because all the past versions of Ys 4 were made by different companies. So yeah, maybe it is going to be a Ys 5 remake, and this could be a Sora no Kiseki remake as well. I forgot the English name. Trails in the Sky, Trails in the Sky. Maybe this could be a Trails in the Sky remake as well, because the Kondo-san has talk about this like several times ago in past interviews, wanting to make the start of the Trail series more accessible to newcomers who didn't play the games when it started 20 years ago. Be it in Japan and be it outside Japan when it started being released in the late 2000s. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting news. And in September, Falcom is going to release Kai no Kiseki in Japan. So they usually always do like one big release a year, like for over a decade. That's how they've been working. Yeah, we'll see what they're going to announce yet. Usually they announce their next game at the shareholders meeting in December. So we will know what this remake is in December. And this could be Ys or Kiseki, but this could be something completely unrelated as well. This could be a Gurumin remake, for example. Actually, really like Gurumin, because like 20 years ago or something, it was one of the first games, it was one of the first Japanese games I played on PC, alongside Shikigami no Shiro and alongside a few other games I don't really remember. And there was Tenerezza as well from Aquaplus. Tenerezza, a really good action RPG, I really like it. It was released on the first Xbox and then on PC, and I used to play the PC version, Japanese PC version, and Gurumin as well. So maybe this is a Gurumin remake, who knows? We'll know in December 2024, inshallah. So for now, people are going to make some predictions. Yeah, my predictions are Ys 5 remake, or Sora no Kiseki remake, or Gurumin remake. Another quick news is that Alice Soft announced they are going to make a big event for their anniversary, their 35th anniversary. It's going to be held in September 15th to 16th. It's going to be an art exposition and stage events and stuff. They didn't reveal full schedule yet. And for the occasion, they revealed a key visual for their anniversary. And it's really cool, because you have a lot of different characters, like the Rance, of course, and Seal. You have Porno from Dona Dona. You have Haruka and from the Escalator series. Tons of characters, right? I think it's a bit of a shame that they didn't pick a single artist to draw everyone. They asked each game's artists to do their own illustration, and then they stitch everything together, because it's kind of a shame, because it would have been better if it was more like uniformized. Usually when companies do these kinds of commemorative artwork, they commission a single artist to draw everyone, so that way like all the characters have the same art style, right? But here everyone looks kind of different, so I think it's kind of a shame, but yeah, whatever. It's besides that, it's a really really cool artwork, so I wanted to show it. Yeah, they're going to explain the details later on. For now, there's just you can start buying your chicas, I think. They didn't reveal like the full schedule, but they're going to sell a lot of merch, and I assume there's going to be some of the Seiyu appearing at stage events and stage greetings and stuff. So yeah, if you're a fan and if you're in Japan in September, maybe you could try going there. Next up, I wanted to talk about this Kotobukiya and Yamashita Shunya. They announced a brand new Bishoujo series figure, and this time it's actually Lilith from Darkstalkers, but cosplaying as Morrigan. So she's actually Lilith, but with Morrigan's color. So she has the same hair color as and same clothes as Morrigan, and it's pretty funny because you don't see this often. And the Bishoujo series from Yamashita Shunya, if you've never heard about it, it's a series of figures that's been going on for 10 years now or something, and it's mainly fighting games characters getting brand new figures redesigned in Yamashita Shunya style, which is a really cool style. And they also announced a figure for Leona from for King of Fighters, and this is the first time she's getting one, I think. And I really like Leona, so I'm really excited for this as well. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm just happy to see it. I really like Yamashita Sensei's art style, so these figures are pretty nice. And it is very funny because don't know if you know this, but Morrigan is like maybe one of the most iconic characters in Japanese media ever, alongside Fujiko in Lupin the Third, because basically pretty much every female demon character in anime and manga and games is based on Morrigan, basically. Like literally, if you look like all the trash isekai series nowadays, if they have a succubus character or a demon character, they're based on Morrigan, because she was such a huge influence on Japanese media and on Japanese culture that she has tons and tons of characters based on her, basically. So it's just pretty funny to see a Lilith figure. Lilith is quite popular as well, especially with people who actually played Darkstalkers in Japan like 20 years ago. And they announced this new figure, so I'm pretty excited to see more of it as well. And Yamashita Shunya also announced an exposition that's going to happen in September to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the Bishoujo figure series, because besides fighting game characters, they also did DC and X-Men characters. I think there's some, for example, there's some gender bands of figures of the X-Men, like Wolverine, etc. And yeah, it's been going on for 15 years now by Kotobukiya, and it's still working pretty well, so I'm looking forward to this. So coming up next, we have some anime news. Basically, at the Anime Expo, Trigun Stampede is getting a sequel called Trigun Stargaze, and I assume this is going to be the same stuff as Stampede. And I didn't watch Stampede yet, but I've only heard really, really good things about it. And I'm pretty big fan of Trigun, and I actually need to read the original manga one day, and then I need to watch Stampede and the sequel. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the redesign they did for Vash, but like I guess it's more popular than the spiky hair from the old days. It looks like a Korean boys band guy, right? So I'm not a huge fan of it, but yeah. Actually, I heard like pretty much I've seen a lot of older Trigun fans say that Stampede is actually really, really excellent, a really, really good CG show. So I gotta try to watch it when I can. Like, I'm not sure when I'll be able to. And yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to say, I think. And oh yeah, and Vash is actually, like earlier I was talking about Morrigan, right? And Vash is also one of these characters who's like extremely iconic in Japanese media, and the kind of character who inspired a lot of other characters, because basically you can, with a lot of characters in Japanese media, you can make some kind of genealogy tree of their character design. Like Vash is basically some kind of homage to Cobra, Space Adventure Cobra, and then you had Vash, and then you had Dante from Devil May Cry from Capcom, and then you had Archer in the Fate Stay Night series. They're basically all the same character if you look at it. They're all dressed in red guy, super cool guy, kinda haughty, kinda always fighting with guns as well. Fighting with a gun or with a range weapon at least for Archer. And basically Cobra, Space Adventure Cobra, Vash from Trigun, to Dante from Devil May Cry, and Archer from Fate Stay Night and Nasuverse. They're basically the same character because they're all based on the same archetype, which is Cobra. And yeah, Vash is another one of these really iconic characters together with Morrigan. So I'm pretty excited that it's getting a brand new series like this, and that it's continuing with Stampede is continuing with a new series. I'm pretty excited. Like, even if I don't watch it, I'm just happy that it actually exists because Trigun and Vash are really good characters and they deserve to get more popular among younger anime fans who never watch the original anime and who never read the first manga. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. So another thing I wanted to bring up is Dragami Games, alias Kadokawa Games. They announced a pretty interesting thing for Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, which is a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw. They announced that Juliet is getting a new seiyuu, and she's going to be voiced by Tamura Yukari-san, who is one of the most popular seiyuu of all time. She's one of my favorites as well. This is pretty interesting because the game is going to have three different voices for Juliet you can choose from. There's going to be Tamura Yukari, and there's going to be Hikasa Yoko and Kitamura Eri. And all two as well are really popular seiyuu. Tamura Yukari, most fans nowadays, younger anime fans, they only know her for Nahida in Genshin, which is an incredibly popular character, and it is a good character. But she's been voicing for like maybe almost 30 years or something. And she was also Rika in Higurashi, who is maybe my favorite role, one of my favorite roles she did. She's Rika in Higurashi and Baron Castell in Umineko. She's also Saki in Gintama. I really need to get more into Gintama one day. I still haven't watched all of it. I need to read the manga one day as well. She was also Ruru in it was what Purikura was it again? I forgot. And I need to watch the series because staff writer Hakuto Purikura, one of the main writers for Hakuto Purikura was Tsubota Fumi, and Tsubota Fumi is one of the main writers for Pretty Rhythm and King of Prism. And so she was also voicing, Tamura Yukari is also voicing some Grand Blue characters as well. So yeah, she's always been relevant, and you can tell she's one of the most popular seiyuu ever because she was also in Pop Team Epic. She's voicing this girl in Steins Gate as well. I forgot her name. One of her most iconic role is Nanoha. Nanoha series, I never really got into it. I really need to watch it one day. I only watched the first season. And she was also one of the Cutie Onis in Cutie Oni universe. Like, they got a lot of legendary seiyuu to voice various versions of Cutie Oni in Cutie Oni universe. She was also Tenten in Naruto. Yeah, she did quite a lot of really, really good roles over the years. And she was also Beatrix in Muv-Luv Schwarzers Marken. What else did she do? She was Hilda in Cross Edge, one of my favorite series of the last decade. Like, Cross Edge is really, really incredible series. So really watch it if you haven't yet. What else? There was that girl in Kill La Kill as well. Muromi-san as well. Muromi-san is a pretty funny series. Like, it's not groundbreaking either, but it's a pretty funny anime overall. What else did she do? Let's keep scrolling. There's another role I wanted to talk about. I think it was Oh yeah, and she also did Togami and Katanagatari. Really, really good series. Like very compared to Monogatari, it's pretty different, but it has some pretty similar things, like the word plays because Nisho Ishin Sensei always does that. Really, really good series Katanagatari. And there's a role I wanted to talk about. Let me find it. Oh, she's also Iori Minase in Aimas, also one of their biggest roles. And she was Midori in my Hime and my Otome as well. Midori is probably my favorite character in all of my Hime and my Otome series. So that's another reason why I really like Tamura Yukari. She's also Eclair Turner who appears in the last episodes, like in the two last episodes or something, if I remember correctly, of Oran Koko Hosobu. I actually rewatched the series earlier this year, like around 1 year ago. It was still really, really good, and I gotta read the manga. I never read the manga. And she was also Irino Rondo. That's it. That's the role I wanted to talk about. But first, let's talk about her. She's the two roles I wanted to talk about. Basically, she's Michiru in Utakata. Utakata is a really, really good series from the early 2000s. It's a dark magical girl series, the kind of genre that was popularized with Madoka Magica, but that was even before Madoka Magica. And it's a really, really good series. It's only one cour. It's only 13 episodes or something. Yeah, and I watched it. I didn't watch it when it was airing. I watched it around like 15 years ago, in 2010 or something. And it's really, really incredible series. Like you should definitely watch it. Utakata, really, really, it's one of my favorite series ever. And then you have Randorino from Gokujo Seitokai, which is also one of my favorite series ever. This also was in early 2000s. I watched this when it was airing. And this is really, a really, really good, funny comedy series with it's a mix of comedy and tragedy. Is the kind of thing I like the most, and it's really, really interesting. And actually, Gokujo Seitokai is part of. It's made by Bandai Namco, and it's part of the UGSF series, which is a really huge timeline thing, which contains Ace Combat 3 and then a lot of shmups shooting games that Bandai Namco did in the past. It's also encompasses Mr. Driller as well. It has tons of different games inside this timeline. And Gokujo Seitokai is actually related to it as well. So it's pretty funny. There's a Gokujo Seitokai PS2 game adaptation as well. I really gotta play it one day. I've never played it. Like, I don't care even if the game is super bad. I just really wanna play it. And it's pretty funny because, yeah, UGSF has tons of different stuff. And it also contains Den Onbu. Den Onbu, which is like a girls band series with Mika Pikazo character designs. And Mika Pikazo is one of my favorite newer character designs, so I really like her designs. So I gotta get into this series one day. I never had the time to. And yeah, this Den Onbu is also part of the UGSF history timeline. And it's pretty funny. But anyway, to get back to the main topic, yeah, I never played the original Lollipop Chainsaw, but maybe I would get the remaster for the sale. So you have Tamura Yukari, and then you have Hikasa Yoko. Hikasa Yoko is also a really legendary seiyuu that's been voicing characters for at least 25 years or something. She did a lot of roles. Like lately, I think she doesn't get as much roles as in the past, but yeah, she got tons of roles. She was Elsa in Aikatsu. Aikatsu Stars. She was, what else? What else do we have? She is Ryobi in Senran Kagura. Ryobi is my favorite character in the whole Senran Kagura series, so that's another reason why I really like her. And as you can see here, she also voiced Popuko at some point. Basically, if I say you voice Popuko or Pipimi in the Pop Team Epic anime, you can tell that they are legendary because they only picked really, really popular people. And yeah, Yoko Hikasa, she was also Shino in Seitokai Yakuin Domo. I gotta read the manga one day. I used to read the manga like over 10 years ago. I think it ended actually. It was actually pretty funny despite reusing the same jokes over and over again. It was still pretty funny, so I gotta try to read it one day. What else did she do? あとなんだったっけ She's also Kyoko in Danganronpa, another one of her very popular roles. I think like if you ask like newer anime fans, I think if you ask them about Hikasa Yoko, their favorite role will probably be Kyoko from Danganronpa. And she was also what was her name? The girl in one of the Puff Girls in OGMD, Katya. She was Katya in Super Robot Wars original generations Moon Dwellers on PS3 and PS4. She was Katya, one of the OG girls from J, and yeah, she's a really iconic seiyuu. And lastly, you have Kitamura Eri. Kitamura Eri is another really popular seiyuu. She's Black Sister in Neptunia. I'm not a big Neptunia fan, but like I do like the stuff. Like I do like Complete Heart. Like they're really courageous for still making these games like over 10 years later. She was Sayaka in Madoka Magica, of course. She was also like you can tell that this seiyuu sadly, because there's a lot of ageism in the industry, in the seiyuu industry, you can tell that sadly, despite being some legendary seiyuu, nowadays they don't really get that many roles. In the Pokemon Monster adaptation for Scarlet and Violet, she's voicing Nemo as well. And she was Yui in Angel Beats, of course. Only the speaking voice. Yui's singing voice was Lisa, right? And this girl, like, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Boku no Hero Academia, so I don't really know the characters, but yeah, she's one of the most popular characters, I think. So I guess newer anime fans know her for this girl. Yeah, and my favorite role from Kitamura Eri was in Needless, Eve in Needless from like the 2010, 29 or something, like over 15 years ago. This is one of my favorite series ever. This is probably my favorite role of her. And yeah, she was Karen in Monogatari series as well. And yeah, so I'm pretty surprised that they're actually spending a lot of money to get some really big seiyuu for the remaster. So maybe I'm actually going to play it now, but I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. So yeah, it's just a short news. I just wanted to nerd about seiyuu and the seiyuu I like, and about Gokujo Seitokai, and about the Yuji SF timeline, and then Onbu. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about all that, and it was a great occasion to do it. But yeah, I'm actually not sure if I'm ever going to play this actually. But yeah, I'm a huge Tamura Yukari fan, so yeah. And yeah, you should definitely watch Gokujo Seitokai and Utakata, really great series. And yeah, speaking of Tamura Yukari, it's actually the 20th anniversary of the Mahou Shoujo Lyrical Nanoha series. For the occasion, they published a brand new key visual, and they're going to make some TV versions of the two first movies. These are the first movies from like over 10 years ago. It's not the newer movies. They're going to make some TV versions. They're going to cut the movies into TV episodes and air it as a brand new TV anime called Lyrical Selection, and it's going to air in October 2024. So I assume once Lyrical Selection is over, they're probably going to announce a brand new thing or something. Nanoha is one series. It's an extremely popular series I've never really gotten into, and I kinda want to get into. I know about it ever since it was airing 20 years ago, but I only watched season 1 around 10 years ago. And I need to watch season 2, and I need to watch all the stuff that happens after it. And so yeah, I'm pretty excited for this because it's a really iconic series I want to get more into one day. And Nanoha is also actually initially part of visual novel, right? And she was a side character in that game, and then she got her own franchise. So I really wanna get into it one day to see what it's all about and try to make my own opinion on the series, because I only watched season 1 and I really liked it, so I wanna watch the rest pretty soon. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. I wonder what they're going to do next, because maybe I think like 3 or 4 years ago or something, there was the new movies, and since then they didn't really do anything. And the movies were like reboots, like they were taking place. It was like an alternate sequel, that a new sequel taking place after season one or something. But we have brand new story, not following what happened in the TV series, right? So yeah, I'm really excited to see where this will go. This is kind of series that I wish it will get more popular with younger fans, because it's the kind of thing that deserves to be more popular with how iconic it was. And especially because Nanoha is basically the series that really launched Mizuki Nana's career as a singer seiyuu, because she was already quite popular at that point. I think she was already coded in Tales of Symphonia by that point, and she was already Hinata in Naruto as well. So she was already quite popular. But it's basically Nanoha that launched her singing career with the OPs, because she did pretty much all of the opening animations. She did all of the opening themes, and I think it's starting season 2 that her songs got really, really popular, and she became the most popular idol. Like, she's not an idol, but she's the most popular singer seiyuu since like Ashibara Megumi. So Nanoha is one of the biggest franchise that really shaped how otaku culture is nowadays, starting the 2000s with Nana Mizuki, then later on doing Cross-Ange, doing Persona 5, and getting like tons of roles like this. But she was already popular at that point, but it's pretty much thanks to Nanoha that she got so popular. She's writing Fate, and Nanoha is Tamura Yukari. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where this new project would go. And some more anime news. They announced a brand new TV series, TV anime for Minamike, which is another pretty iconic series from 20 years ago. This is getting announced for the 20th anniversary of the series. Minamike, I used to really like the first season, but I never really watched like the rest. And I used to really like Hosoda, I think was his name, the guy who was always stripping and always getting fantasies and delusions about the older sister. I think her name was Haruka or something. The guy Hosoda, I think was his name, he was always getting delusions about being a house husband, being having her as his housewife and stuff. It was extremely funny. Like, yeah, Minamike, I watched the first season and I really liked it, but I never really watched. Like, I think there was 3 or 4 seasons after that, and this is probably going to be, yeah, this is season 5. This is going to be season 5, and this is going to be like the anime was 17 years ago, and the manga is 20 years old now. So yeah, I didn't even know that the manga was still continuing. So yeah, it's crazy. Minamike, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it, because yeah, it was the first season especially was really funny, but then I think I didn't hear that many good things about the rest. But maybe the manga stays funny, so I think I will be better off just reading the manga, I think, rather than watching the anime. But I would like to rewatch the first season, especially for the Hosoda scenes. And I forgot who his seiyuu was. I think it was Shigeru Susumu, Shiba Susumu, I think was his name, and I think he's also in Pretty Rhythm, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, because yeah, it's pretty much just like Nanoha. This is the kind of series that deserves to be more popular among younger fans, in my opinion. So maybe, hopefully, newer anime fans will discover with this brand new season, Minamike, because it was pretty funny. So yeah. Another quick thing I wanted to bring up is the Yohane RPG game, the Yohane card roguelite RPG game. They're making some Swim Streets DLC, and it's going to be free, I think, if I remember correctly. Oh no, it's not going to be free, but yeah, it's going to add some DLCs. And to be honest, I'm still not sure why this game even exists, and why they made 2 games. Like, they made this game and they made the action scroller game that's like Mega Man, right? Like, I don't even know like, is she that popular? I'm not sure, right? So I'm not sure why they are going so ham on this specific Love Live character and making so many spin-offs of Yohane. But it's pretty funny to see. But anyway, the real reason I broke this up is because if you don't know, Love Live, the first Love Live anime, it was directed by Kyogoku Takahiko, and this guy, he actually used to work on the very first Love Live things before it became an anime, right? On some Love Live CDs, they would include some PVs, some animated 3G, CG, 3D animated PVs, right? And actually, the CG director of Plagiarism, which is Otobe Yoshihiro, he actually used to work on this as well. And this is why they actually worked together on Plagiarism. Plagiarism, my favorite series of the last decades, which I always bring up. And this is pretty funny because if you look at it this way, Plagiarism actually wouldn't exist without Love Live. But it's kind of sad because none of the Love Live fans I've ever met know about Plagiarism. So yeah, it's very funny to think about it this way. And I remember correctly, in a later season of Love Live, they actually reused assets from Plagiarism as well. So it's pretty funny because Plagiarism wouldn't exist without Love Live, and Love Live wouldn't exist without Plagiarism. But sadly, very few people actually know this. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. And yeah, I'm really not a fan of card games, roguelites. Like, I really don't like them. And I'm pretty happy, like, Gakuen Idolmaster is actually not really one because, like, it's very different from the usual. So I'm not, like, I don't really care even if it's using similar systems. I'm not really bothered by it. But yeah, when it comes to RPGs, like, I really don't like roguelike card RPGs, so I don't think I'm ever going to play this. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about Plagiarism because this was a good occasion to bring it up. So yeah, if you like Yohane, you should check it out. They're doing some DLCs from summer, some swimsuit DLCs for summer. You should check it out if you like it. There's a trailer as well if you want to watch it. So yeah, they did a quick trailer to introduce the swimsuit DLCs and some new outfits they're adding to the game. I'm really curious to know, like, I'm not actually going to check, but I'm really curious to know if this game actually sold or not, because they actually released this right after the other Yohane game, right? So they released like two Yohane games back to back, so I'm not sure, like, maybe they concurrence each other. Like, it's pretty weird. I'm really not sure what they were thinking with these releases. But yeah, like, if you like it, you should check it out. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about Love Live and Plagiarism's history together a little bit. So it's a good occasion to do it. Maybe one day I'll do some video where I'll talk about it in detail. But yeah, that's it for Project Yohane. Next up, we have some new videos for Romancing Saga 2 Remake. Like I explained in the past episodes, like the official Saga series Twitter, Japanese Twitter, is sharing daily some new gameplay clips for the Romancing Saga 2 Remake, and they're explaining the game systems and stuff. And this time they explain the LP system, which is the exact same thing as in the original game. Basically, every character has a number of LPs, and when they die in battle, they don't actually die for real, they just get down. But if they get hit at that point, they lose LPs, and once a character runs out of LP, they die permanently. So there's permadeath. So you need to be careful of the LP of your characters. You need to try to revive them so they don't get hit. Like, see, when a character loses all of his HP, they lose one LP, but they stay on the field. And if they get hit when they're still on the field, they will lose another LP. So you will need to revive them if you can. You need to heal them. So yeah, it's a pretty good system, and this is one of the peculiarities of Romancing Saga 2, so I'm glad it's back in the remake, and I'm really looking forward to it. And they published some more gameplay as well, like this is some class introductions, and this is the Archer class, which is also in the original game. And one thing I wanted to talk about is it's pretty funny that all the, like, so it is fully voiced. This remake is going to be fully voiced. One thing interesting to note is that the characters actually say Gerard's name. Gerard is the first emperor, like the first emperor you will play yourself in the story. And I'm wondering if they made specific dialogues depending on the emperor you're playing as. Because obviously, if Gerard isn't your emperor anymore, this line should be different, right? Because they directly call his name. So I'm pretty curious to see how this will work and how many voice lines there are in the game and how the script will go depending on who your emperor is. But yeah, they introduced the Archer class, and this is the Free Fighter class. I think this was in the original game as well. So yeah, it's fully voiced, and each class is introducing themselves to the Emperor. So I'm really looking forward to see all of the events, to check all of the voice clips in the game, because this is one of my favorite games ever, so I'm really excited for this remake. And also another interesting thing to note is they actually did some little character acting, right? Even if the screenplay is very minimal, like it's just face-to-face talking, they actually bothered to make the characters move and stuff. So there's some gestures as well. So there's some minimal screenplay there. So I'm pretty happy about this, because if I remember correctly, this is the same team as the Trials of Mana remake, and in Trials of Mana, one of the biggest weaknesses of the game is that they kept the screenplay of the original Super Famicom, Super Nintendo games. So in 2D it was okay because you could imagine how the characters will move and stuff, but in 3D it's really weird because the characters are static in the cutscenes. So there's no real screenplay, there's no real storyboard for the cutscenes in the Trials of Mana remake. But this time for Romancing Saga 2 remake, it seems like they actually did some cutscenes, direction, and some actual storyboards for even for the small talks, small events like this. They actually make the characters gestures and stuff, so I'm pretty excited. See, they actually bothered giving some gestures and stuff. Even Gerard as well. See, the characters actually move. Like it's very minimal, but it's still better than nothing. So I'm pretty excited for this. See, there's actual character acting, and this is very important. Character acting is very important, especially in a like it's an ambitious game, but it's not that ambitious either. So this kind of stuff is very important. So I just wanted to talk about this. And coming up next, we have some Reignatis news. And Reignatis, the demo is out in Japan on PlayStation, on Nintendo Switch, and until July 24th, they're actually doing some kind of contest. The thing in Reignatis is just like in Reignatis, when you play as Marin, the male protagonist is basically an outlaw because magic users are being persecuted and they need to hide themselves. And if you don't hide yourself well, your rating will go up, just like in the GTA series. Basically, people will start talking about you on social media, and if you start trending on social media, the mayor, which is basically the magic police, they will send some very strong enemies to arrest you. And basically they're doing a contest. If people, they play the demo and they fight these super strong mayor enemies, and if they can defeat them, then you have a chance to win some Nintendo Shop points and some PlayStation Network points. And basically, you need to play the demo and to upload your gameplay where you manage to beat the Mea elites, the elite magicians from Mea. We will come to arrest you when you're running, when you start trending, and you get noticed too much. And she's a pretty funny contest idea because they're extremely strong and it's really hard to beat them. So I wonder if many people will participate and how they will do it. And also, still an artist, Isobe Takumi, the producer and the director of the game, has been saying that he actually reads the feedback people have been giving from the demo, and they're slowly incorporating changes in the main game from the feedback they are getting. And one of the things he explained in this tweet is that actually they already they made some of the combo attacks, they made it faster because the demo players, in their impressions, they said that some of the combos were too slow. So Takumi P, Isobe P, the producer and director, he explained that they're making some changes and the combos will be faster in the final game. So this is one of the things that they're taking into account with the demo. So it's a pretty good thing that the demo was released. This is new gameplay showing the bonus costume in the limited edition of the game. This is the bonus costume for the female protagonist. And he explained, director Takumi explained that this is not reflected in this gameplay, but in the final game they will increase the speed of the combo. This is the initial combo, the basic combo. It will be even faster in the final game because some people say that it's a bit too slow. So this is a pretty good news. So the other day I was talking about the brand new figure that Ruri Hoshino from Nadeshiko is getting, and actually on July 7 it was also Ruri's birthday. So Yoshinaga Masahiro, one of the animators of Nadeshiko, who also worked on Macross 7, and he also worked on Minky Momo's OVA, on the Tokimeki Memorial OVAs. Yeah, it used to be a pretty famous animator. Nowadays, he don't do that much stuff, but he does a lot of illustrations. He did a really, really incredible illustration for Rudy for her birthday. So I wanted to show this as well. Just quick news, quickly stuff showing. Just wanted to quickly show this because she's one of my favorite characters. So yeah, really wanted to show this. Another quick thing I wanted to talk about is it's currently the 14th anniversary of Hokuto no Ken, Feast of the North Star. And for the occasion, there's actually an art exhibition that's going on in Japan right now by Hara Tetsuo, the artist of the original manga. The Hokuto no Ken original manga, it was written by Bronson and his editor. I forgot the name of his editor, and the art, it was drawn by Hara Tetsuo, right? And Hara Tetsuo, he also did a lot of stuff since then, and he did this at this exposition. He actually drew a picture of Amuro Rei from Gundam. This is pretty cool, and I just wanted to show this. Like I don't think you've ever seen this before. Amuro Rei in the Hokuto no Ken style. So this was very funny. So I wanted to talk about this. So still on the short news sides of things, I wanted to talk about this. Suzy Santa, the character designer of Super Sonico at Nutroplus, he published basically a making of him drawing a Lazif from Demon Bane. And this was for the Demon Bane anniversary or something. The series is like celebrating its 20th anniversary, so I really wouldn't be surprised if they announce a brand new game or something, especially because recently Nitroplus announced that the Cyber Agents, the parent company of Cygames, has bought them over, so they will be able to work on game projects without worrying about the money aspect and the budget aspect. So I really wouldn't be surprised if they announce a new Demon Bane project or something soon. And I just wanted to quickly show this because it was really cool. Like Suzy Santa is original character of Super Sonico, Super Pochako, etc. And yeah, he did this really cool Al-Azif illustration time-lapse. You should check it out on YouTube if you want. It's on the Nitro Arts official YouTube, so you should check it out. She's really, really cute, right? So yeah, I really hope, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced localization for Demon Bane 2 at one day as well. Like the Kishin Hishu, I forgot the name is, Kishin Hishu or something, Demon Bane, the sequel. It only released in Japan in 26 or something, and it never got an English release, so I wouldn't be surprised if this got localized, and I wouldn't be surprised if a brand new Demon Bane got announced pretty soon. So yeah, that's another quick thing I wanted to bring up, because I really like Al-Azif, so yeah. And the final piece of news for today is that Archipel, they announced that they're going to make some documentaries for Metaphory Fantasio, and they're going to start releasing them on YouTube at the end of the month, later this month. So I'm really excited to see like what they're going to say. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Persona stuff, but I do like their games, so I want to see like what are they going to say in these interviews. So yeah, that's the final thing for today. So yeah, I'm done for today. So this time the episode lasts a little bit more than 1 hour. I talked quite a lot. I still have a little bit of a hard time to articulate and to properly convey my words pretty fast, but yeah, I'll keep working on it and I'll keep practicing. And yeah, thanks for watching this episode as well. And see you later. Remember to subscribe and check out my blog as well. Thanks. Bye.